Joselyne Edwards and Ramona Pascual in the bantamweight division. 33, almost 34 years old, versus Joselyne Edwards, who is 5'8" and a 70-inch reach right there, and only 26.5 years old. So she's a little bit younger, but she's a little bit taller and a little bit lengthier as well. So there's some good advantages for Joselyne Edwards, especially the experience advantage. She's fought in the UFC for a while, fought a lot of different type of opponents. Yanan Wu, Carol Rosa, Jessica Rose Clark, fighting some, not that good of opponents on the regional scene, but this should be a good fight. I do believe Ramona Pascual, her only way of winning the fight is just to pressure the heck out of Joselyne Edwards, tire her out, mix in some wrestling, and just land the harder shot. She needs to make this a dog fight, and that's the main way I see Ramona Pascual winning this fight, is going to be in a dog fight. And it is very close. Betting odds as of right now, -175 Joselyne Edwards, +150 for Ramona Pascual. It was a 50-50 fight at one point, but then all the money came in on Joselyne Edwards. It started at -180, money came in on Ramona, and then money came right back out on Joselyne Edwards. Very, very interesting line movement there, but I do have to go Joselyne Edwards for many reasons. She's far more technical than Ramona Pascual. She does land a little bit more volume than Ramona Pascual. Her striking defense is a lot better. She's taller, she's lengthier, her striking is a way more technical, like I've been saying. She's a little bit faster than Ramona Pascual. Her movement is better than Ramona Pascual. Wrestling and grappling is very even, but I wouldn't be surprised if Joselyne Edwards could mix in a few takedowns as well and show that she might actually have the advantage there as well. But I do believe this is going to be one of the fights. Whoever loses, sorry, go back to Invicta, go to the LFA, go to PFL maybe. I mean, they're both bantamweight, featherweight fighters. They can maybe go to the PFL lightweight division, but yeah, I think Joselyne Edwards wins. I think she's better pretty much everywhere except for cardio, which does worry me. I mean, there's a chance Ramona Pascual could go out there, put some crazy pressure on Joselyne Edwards and just make this an absolute dogfight and win the fight, but she has not fought Joselyne Edwards, and when she has fought a fighter like near like that type of caliber as Joselyne Edwards, she got pretty much destroyed. 30-26, 30-27 in that fight. She did beat Shamir Peshua right there, but she's also a girl with a very padded record, so it's an interesting fight. I think Joselyne Edwards should pretty easily win the fight on the feet and on the ground and on the clinch. Pretty much actually, I take that back. Not in the clinch. Ramona Pascual has really devastating knees in the clinch, so we'll take that advantage out. If Ramona Pascual is going to win, it's going to be those knees to the clinch, getting a knockout, or just crazy pressure. Making it a dogfight, I don't see it happening. Joselyne Edwards winning the fight by a unanimous decision. Silvana Gomez Juarez and Liang in the women's strawweight division. Now, 37.5 years old. Is smaller, is less lengthy than Liang. Liang is 25 years old and she has more experience. Now, the experience was not against the best of the best. I mean, a lot of debuting type of fighters, like 1-0, 2-0 like type fighters and things like that. But she has fought some decent girls. I mean, every now and then she will come across a good opponent, like Lilia Shakirova, Juliana Velasquez, Bellator champion, Maria Agapova, Guiyan. Those are like a few of the decent opponents on her record right there. I mean, she every now and then she'll find an okay opponent, but this is another one of them where it's another very average opponent that Liang is gonna fight in a very aged out Silvana Gomez Juarez, who's been submitted plenty of times in her career so far. Lost a 4th round finish to Paulina Botello, beat Vanessa Mella right there, absolute garbage. Lost to Ariane Lipski right there. Got 3 wins in a row. Then got an armbar twice in the first round. If you want to know what Liang does best, it's the armbar. Armbar. Let's go down a little bit. Armbar. Submission, armbar, rear naked. You get the gist. She's a grappler. She's a jiu-jitsu ace. She wants to fight to get to the ground, and she's looking for that submission. Silvana is a legit striker. I mean, she could go out there and destroy Liang in the striking. This is low-level women's MMA at its finest. There's 2 outcomes. Silvana Gomez Juarez goes out there, defends the takedown early on in the fight, pressures Liang, gets her back to the cage, starts throwing bombs, knocks her out, head kicks her, knocks her out. That's one outcome. Second outcome, Liang gets hit with a few shots, gets a takedown, submits Silvana Juarez early on in that fight. It's women's MMA. I mean, one of those two things is gonna happen. There's both of them are very, very low level. I think they both should be over there in Bellator, Invicta, PFL, whatever the case may be. I don't think either should be inside of the UFC, but they're gonna make it a UFC fight anyway. It should be minus 110, minus 110. It's 50-50. I'm gonna go with the dog. Liang right there. I really doubt the fight goes to a decision with the way that both girls get finished or are the ones getting the finish. This fight's not going to go the distance. I got Liang getting a submission here. Again, is low level women's MMA. So if goes out there, just like goes so hard for that takedown, so hard for that submission, and Silvana Juarez keeps the fight on the feet and just rocks her and knocks her out, I'm not going to be surprised. They're very low level. So I got Liang, another underdog in the card. I already have I already have 3 underdogs on the card. This is going to be my 4th out of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 fights. I have more than half of them as underdogs. Very interesting. But I'm going to go Liang by submission in the second round. Not that good of a fight in the women's strawweight division. Kang and Batgerel Danaa in the UFC bantamweight division. Now, again, originally, I had Kang winning this fight. I thought maybe that first round would go Batgerel. Second round, Kang might come back with some wrestling, some grappling, and use that in the third round to win a decision. That was the original prediction for Kang as the underdog to go out there and just grind on the ground in the later rounds after Batgerel uses a little bit of his powers, cardio, and things like that early on in the fight. And it's a logical prediction in that we kind of see Batgerel go all out in those early rounds. But I've gotten emails from a lot of people and DMs on Instagram. A lot of people sending me videos of Batgerel Danaa literally saying he doesn't want the knockout in this fight. He learned from his last fight. He is saying because of his last fight with Chris Gutierrez, he was too worried about going out there to get the knockout on Chris Gutierrez that he ate a spinning back fist. And he said he was very tired in that second round because he let out the gas tank in that first round. So it's not 100% he's going to follow through on the game plan, but I'm pretty sure that's what he's going to do. That's the only reason I'm changing my heart right here. And my prediction here is because the only reason I had Kang was because I thought Danaa Batgerel was going to waste a lot of energy early on in that fight looking for the finish. But interviews from Danaa are saying he doesn't actually want the finish. He wants this fight to go to the later rounds. He wants to preserve some of the cardio for the later rounds as well. So I am going to actually go Batgerel by a decision right here. Again, I still don't think he's going to knock out Kang. I don't think Kyung is going to go out there and submit Batgerel. And the fight goes all the way, and Batgerel wins at least 2 out of 3 rounds, preserving some of the cardio for the later rounds and winning this fight by a decision. Really good fight in the bantamweight division. Jake Matthews and Andre Fialho in the welterweight division. Now, first thing first is going to be the betting odds. Very, very close. And the fight happened on sort of short notice. I mean, it's not like they're just randomly getting put together in like 2 weeks, but Andre Fialho just fought like a few months ago. Before that fight, even less than that. And he's had so many fights in the last 6 months, and he's taken another one. He is the favorite here at minus 150. So he's slight favorite at that, but he's 28 years old, a little bit older than Jake Matthews, which honestly is surprising because Jake Matthews is such an experienced UFC veteran, fighting in the UFC all the way back since 2014, getting mainly submission wins. Deshaun Johnson right there, Vagan the Rocha, literally all the wins either by submission or a decision. If he's losing, it's mainly going to be by finish. Submission right there, ground and pound TKO, a split decision, anaconda, and then a arm triangle choke submission. So the main way you're going to beat him is going to be by a submission, but you already know Andre Fialho is not the type of guy to go out there and look for a submission. He's not going to try doing that. He's not going to take down Jake Matthews and get him with the darts. He's going to try to keep the fight on the feet, throw bombs and try to catch him with that left hook. We saw what he was able to do with a one punch on Cameron Van Camp, and it was an easy first round left hook knockout. He got wobbled a little bit before that, but he tends to get wobbled a little bit, kind of rocks the cobwebs out, and then he comes back and knocks them out. He's on a 5-fight first round knockout streak with only one loss in between there to Michel Pereira by a decision. Haven't really seen any fights where he's been like out grappled, out wrestled or anything like that. And I do believe this fight with Jake Matthews is not going to be one of those where Jake's going to take the fight down and control Andre Fialho on the ground. The fight is going to stay on the feet. Jake Matthews is not that kind of dominant wrestler, dominant grappler. He's got decent game down there in that aspect, but he's not going to dominate him on the ground. There may be a few instances where he will land the takedown and that may impact the judging just a little bit, but with the factor that Andre is just so much of a better striker. He throws literally more volume. He hits way harder than Jake Matthews does. And the fact that his cardio is honestly very, very solid. If he can just like light Jake Matthews up in that first and second round, keep just enough cardio in that third round, just make it interesting, keep alive, and just not get taken down by Jake Matthews, I think he can easily win this fight. Not a fight where I'm going to be like Andre Fialho knockout. That's been the case for a lot of the past fights for Andre Fialho, and I'm assuming if I go down here, yeah, there's a lot of people going Fialho knockout. I'm not one of them. I think Fialho is going to get a decision here. I do think this fight could be a knockout, could be a submission win for Jake Matthews or something like that. But Jake has never been KO'd before. He's been TKO'd, but he's never been actually knocked out. And that is how Andre Fialho wins a lot of his fights. And kind of has that thing where with Matthews being the better grappler, better wrestler, if Fialho does rock him or something like that, Jake Matthews could kind of do the Charles Oliveira strategy and kind of play the bait in the grappling and wrestling. But I don't think we see a knockout. I think Fialho wins the first round, wins the second round, and then slightly edges out that third round for a unanimous decision. I'm assuming the odds this fight goes to a decision are probably going to be crazy. Actually, pretty 50-50 right there. Plus 130 and then minus 160 to go to a decision. I got the dog money on the fight going to a decision. I don't think Matthews is the guy to get knocked out very often. Andre Fialho by a unanimous decision. Steve Garcia and Hayisaer Maheshate. Again, if I'm getting that one wrong, correct me down in the comments. This is in the UFC lightweight division. Betting odds very, very close. Steve Garcia a slight favorite at minus 155, where the underdog Hayisaer Maheshate is at plus 140. So it's interesting. I mean, Steve Garcia is a guy that gets a lot of finishes, and when he loses, tends to lose by a decision, except for one fight with Alon Cruz where he lost by a submission. But this is a fight I can definitely see a finish for either guy. Either Steve Garcia can finally find a way to get the fight to the ground and pound the heck out of Hayisaer Maheshate and just TKO him with ground and pound. The elbows that he has, the ground and pound that he has. I mean, he's so good at cutting you up, blooding you up, and just TKOing you with ground and pound, with elbows, with knees, and things like that. He's just, every fight he fights in, there's going to be someone bloody in that fight. But this one, with Hayisaer Maheshate, I don't think Hayisaer is going to be the one that is bloody in the fight. I think Hayisaer is going to be the one that wins here. He hasn't fought the best competition. I mean, a lot of very unknown fighters over there in the WLF Wars 44, 47, 50, and things like that. Didn't get a lot of good opponents in any of those fights. But then he fought Achelis Estremadura right there on the Contender Series, I believe the main event, and he was in there at a plus 475 underdog. Looked amazing. Won that fight with flying colors, and I absolutely love this fighter right here. Hayisaer, I mean, the man, his takedown defense, we don't really know what that is going to be like, especially against a guy like Steve Garcia. I don't know what it's going to be like, but he looks very strong. He looks very physical. His cardio is amazing. His power is really good. He just keeps on putting on the pressure. The body kicks, the head kicks, the spinning kicks, the power that he has, the pressure, the volume. I love everything about this guy. He's only 22 and a half years old. I think he's definitely going to be a prospect in this lightweight division. Definitely going to rise the ranks and stay in the UFC for a very long time. Steve Garcia, another guy I can definitely see staying in the UFC, but he's going to be one of those up and down kind of fighters. Lose, win, lose, win, lose, win. And I know the UFC wants Hayisaer Maheshate to win the fight. I know they're setting him up with Steve Garcia, a guy that gets rocked in a lot of his fights. Last fight with Charlie Ontiveros, he got rocked against a guy that should not be in the UFC, in Charlie Ontiveros twice. He got rocked twice by Charlie Ontiveros. Came back, TKO'd them, of course, but Hayisaer is better than Charlie Ontiveros. He's a better striker. He's way more diverse. He's got better cardio. He's got better takedown defense. In my opinion, I don't really know that because we haven't seen him really fight that good of a wrestler, but how strong he looks, I expect him to have some good takedown defense. So it's a close fight, but I actually have my second underdog of the night in Hayisaer Maheshate winning the fight. I think we're going to see a TKO here. Steve Garcia has only been finished one time, and it was by a submission, but he's fighting a good guy right here. Hayisaer is a beast, man. I do like what I've seen from him, so I'm going to go Hayisaer to win the fight by TKO in the second round. A really good fight in the UFC lightweight division. Seung Choi and Joshua Culibao in the featherweight division. Now, Seung Choi with 10 wins and 4 losses, going out there beating guys like Youssef Zalal by unanimous decision, Julian Rosa with a crazy knockout in the first round. Then Suman Mokhtarian fought some good fighters early. I mean, he went on against a lot of grappler wrestler types like Movsar Evloev, Gavin Tucker, and then most recently fighting Alex Caceres. He's getting a lot of bad draws in his opponent. I mean, every single guy the UFC puts him up against that he's losing to is a pretty good grappler and wrestler. I mean, Joshua Culibao is a decent jiu-jitsu guy. I mean, we don't really see it in too many of his MMA fights because he kind of just uses that to not get out-wrestled and out-grappled and make his striking work in his fights. But he does have a little bit of a grappling advantage, if you want to say that, in this fight over Seung Choi, but not enough to go out there and do it like Movsar Evloev was able to do, not able to do what Gavin Tucker was able to do, Alex Caceres. Culibao was none of those guys. He's not going to be able to take the fight down and dominate Seung Choi on the ground. He does have some good kicks. I mean, a lot of his wins do kind of revolve around like leg kicking, body kicking, head kicking, and things like that. But we do know Seung Choi to be a very good check leg kicker. I mean, he checks a lot of the leg kicks of his opponents very, very well. He's got good kicks of his own, body kicks, front kicks, and things like that. And his striking defense is very, very solid. Submission defense, not as solid, of course, but again, I don't think that's going to be too much of an issue here. I think it's going to be a striking fight. I don't think Joshua's going to get knocked out, even though, yeah, I know his only loss is going to be by knockout, but it was against Jalen Turner, who's just a crazy powerful guy. But Seung Choi, I think he's going to throw more volume here. I think he's going to land the harder shots. He's way, way faster as well. It's a good fight, but I got Seung Choi winning this fight by a unanimous decision. Brendan Allen and Jacob Malkoun in the middleweight division. Now, I did have Jacob Malkoun originally winning this fight. It's such a close one, in my opinion. They're both roughly around the same age. Jacob has the wrestling advantage. Allen has the grappling advantage, the size, the height, the reach, and the striking. Originally, I was thinking since Jacob Malkoun, every single time he goes out there, he's able to land the takedowns consistently and grind out a decision like he did with Abdulrazak Alhassan, like he did with AJ Dobson, but he was not able to do with Phil Hawes. I did have Malkoun winning this fight against Brendan Allen by a unanimous decision, but again, I started to look at how big Brendan Allen truly is, and the fact that not too many people have been able to take him down inside of the UFC. It kind of got me thinking, is my original prediction a little bit crazy? I mean, there's a good chance Malkoun could go out there and grind the decision, but there's so many obstacles that he has to go through to actually get the decision. First off, first round is going to go Brendan Allen. Like, for sure that first round is going Brendan Allen. That's what happens every single time in a Jacob Malkoun fight, even with guys that don't have as good of wrestling and grappling as Brendan Allen. They're able to keep the fight on the feet and outstrike Jacob in that first round. So clearly the first round is going to go Allen. I thought the second and third round would go Jacob Malkoun, but thinking about it even more, he just fought at light heavyweight. He's huge. He's 6 foot 2 inches tall, about 5 inches taller than Jacob Malkoun, and he's gonna have a 2-inch reach advantage right there. And he's coming off submission win over Carl Roberson, and a submission win over Sam Alvey, and a decision win over Ponyo Soriano. I mean, he's got a really good kicking game, and he's got legit jiu-jitsu. Again, I'm not saying I'm fully on to Brendan Allen right here. I still think Jacob Malkoun is a very, very live underdog to go out there, do what he's done his last 2 performances, and just grind, stay away from the power on the feet, take him down, and just kind of hold him there for 3 rounds. That is not off the table, but I am slightly going to lean Brendan Allen. It's not a confident pick. This is another one, kind of like Glover Teixeira versus Yuri Prochazka, where I'm like just barely leaning Brendan Allen right here. I have him as like a 52% confident pick. Not a confident pick by any means, just a slight lean. But yeah, I'm going to change my prediction. The first time I've ever done this on a UFC prediction right here. I'm going from Jacob Malkoun to Brendan Allen. Now, how do I think Brendan Allen's going to win? You might be a little surprised to hear, but I'm going to go Allen by a decision right here. He's got some crazy power on the feet, but I can't see him going out there submitting Malkoun. I think he can use the submissions to defend a lot of the takedowns or to get up from the takedowns from Jacob Malkoun. But I do think that Malkoun will be able to survive by just when he does get hurt, he can possibly just get it in the clinch, shoot a takedown and things like that, and just kind of get the cobwebs out of his brain a little bit and get back into the fight. So I'm going to go Brendan Allen by a decision right here, ever so slightly. Switching the prediction to Allen by a unanimous decision. Jack Della Maddalena and Ramazan Emeev in the UFC welterweight division. Betting odds as 50-50 as you could have gotten a few days ago. I mean, it was -110 for a good stretch. About, what was that, 6 days in a row was that -110. And then boom, all the money coming in on Jack Della Maddalena. And he was the underdog to start. +130 was at +120 for a little bit there. I mean, a day later was at +105. Then finally went to that 50-50 range, and now he's the favorite. But he's fighting a legit prospect here. I mean, he's the prospect, but he's fighting a legit guy here in Ramazan Emeev from Dagestan, Russia. You know what he's going to do. Take the fight down, out-wrestle, out-grapple, and look to get a decision. Decision. You know what he's going to do. He's got a few anacondas, rear nakeds, and things like that on the regional scene. If he's going to win the fight, it's going to be a decision. Just mark my words. I mean, Jack Della Maddalena, he's not a guy that gets decisions too often. I mean, there was one against Andre Lusa, a super durable guy, that the fight did go to a decision. But other than that, every single fight's a finish. 9 knockout wins in a row. First round submission and a first round decision. It's interesting, because I'm going to go Jack Della Maddalena, but I'm wondering if he's going to get the finish or not, because the last time he was finished was way back in 2014, almost 8 years ago, against Vyacheslav Vasilishvili, a 36-9 Russian that has fought literally everyone over there in Russia. I mean, that's the only guy to go out there and finish him, and it was 8 years ago. So, again, I don't know if we're going to see a finish here. It could be a decision. It could be a knockout. I mean, it's one of those fights. You don't know how Ramazan Emeev's chin is going to be, because he has not fought the most powerful guys. I mean, Stefan Sekulic, Anthony Rocco Martin, Nicolas Stoles, David Zawada, Danny Roberts. None of these guys are elite strikers by any means. So, I don't know how the chin of Ramazan Emeev is doing. I don't know if one shot lands from Jack and he's going to knock him out, but I'm actually going to go the decision side. I'm going to say Jack Della Maddalena by a decision. He's younger, he's taller, he's lengthier, he's the better striker, and I already know this whole entire camp has been focused around wrestling. Has been focused around takedown defense. That's all it has been focused on. I know Jack Della Maddalena, he has the game plan of going out there, outstriking Ramazan Emeev for 3 rounds. And if Danny Roberts can go out there and outstrike Ramazan Emeev, defend most of the takedowns and get a robbery decision, so can Jack Della Maddalena. I have the fight staying on the feet. I have Jack defending most there will be times Ramazan will get to fight to the ground, but most of these takedowns, Della Maddalena will defend. The fight will mostly stay on the feet, and he will outstrike Ramazan Emeev for 2 out of these 3 rounds. 29-28 decision win for Della Maddalena. Rogerio, Bontorin, and Manel Kape in the flyweight division. Betting odds, wow, Manel Kape at -220, was at -230 at one point. Money's kind of gone back in on Rogerio Bontorin. Odds go to a decision are plus money. So most people saying the fight is not gonna go to a decision. Do I think the fight is gonna go to a decision? It's tough. I do. I think the fight will go to a decision here. I know Manel Kape has that finishing power, and I know Rogerio Bontorin has been knocked out before. I mean, Kara-France knocked him out, but that's Kara-France. That is one of the guys besides Manel Kape that is one of the most powerful guys in this division. Never been knocked out besides that. I know he's been knocked out before, but Manel Kape is a very patient fighter. He's not a guy, he has power, he can go out there, he can let loose, and he can knock you out with a one punch, left hook, flying knee, right hook, left hook to the body. I mean, whatever the case may be, he can land anything, a head kick, and he can knock you out if he's really looking to do it. I mean, he's very, very tentative. I mean, in his fights with Alexandre Pantoja, Matheus Nicolau, he did not throw enough volume. And then finally, when he started to let his hands loose against Odi Osman, against Zhang Zhumagulov, he knocked him out. First round knockouts in both of those fights near the end of the round. So he's kind of tentative early on, and then he finally started throwing towards the end of those first round and got the knockout. So again, he needs to go out there with the game plan that I need to start throwing. I need to start throwing big shots and look for that knockout. Rogerio Bontorin needs his game plan to be very tentative, stay on the outside, go inside, in and out, in and out, in and out on the striking, and have Manel Kape play that countering role for a little bit, get frustrated, then start throwing bombs. That is where Rogerio Bontorin needs to mix in those takedowns. He's the far superior grappler and wrestler. Not the best wrestler, not the best grappler, or anything like that. But he was out-wrestling, out-grappling Kara-France in their fight, which is definitely saying something. Because Askarov was not actually out-wrestling Kara-France as much as Rogerio Bontorin was in their fight. So I think this is a lot closer of a fight than the betting odds do suggest, given that Manel Kape is not as good of a wrestler and grappler as Rogerio Bontorin. And Rogerio was able to kind of out-wrestle Kara-France in their fight until, he got knocked out. But again, it was the same thing. Eventually, Kai got back up on the feet, landed the big shots, and won the rounds. I mean, I think Manel Kape will do the same thing. There will be grappling, there will be wrestling mixed in. Rogerio will land a few things like that, but the takedowns are not going to be as big as the big shots that Manel Kape is landing. If you look at the rule book for MMA, first thing comes first is significant striking, significant grappling, and if Rogerio Bontorin is just taking the fight down and holding him there, the shots that Manel Kape is landing on the feet, the harder shots, the huge shots that he's landing, are going to be worth more to the judges than the takedown and holding down on the ground for Rogerio Bontorin. So, it's possible Rogerio could do the Aljamain Sterling game plan and just kind of hold Manel Kape for this whole entire fight. I don't think it's going to happen. Manel knows that's the game plan of Rogerio. He's going to be preparing for the game plan of Rogerio. He'll keep the fight on the feet for the most part, and I got Manel Kape winning this fight by a decision. Weili Zhang and Joanna Jędrzejczyk 2 in the women's strawweight division. If you look at the betting odds, -170 Zhang Weili, plus 145 for Joanna Jędrzejczyk. In the first fight at UFC 248, Zhang Weili was an even bigger favorite at -227. So actually, they have it as an even closer fight this time around. Fight goes to a decision. So far is -200. They're clearly expecting this fight to go to a decision, as am I. I think Weili Zhang, Joanna Jędrzejczyk, they've had plenty of decisions recently. I mean, Joanna has had, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 decision fights in a row. And Weili Zhang, decision, knockout win over Jessica Andrade, decision, knockout loss to Rose Namajunas, and a decision. So, if there's going to be a finish here, I think it could actually be on the Joanna Jędrzejczyk side, but I don't think there's going to be a finish. I think this fight will go all the way, either way, and it's going to be a banger in this women's strawweight division. And now, We have two girls that lost to Rose Namajunas twice, and it's very close, 63% and 37%. Now let's talk advantages. Wrestling. Slightly going to lean Weili Zhang just for the fact that she was able to take down Joanna Jędrzejczyk in their last appearance. Joanna, she never really goes for takedowns. I'll give the advantage to Weili Zhang. Pressure. I'll go Weili Zhang as well. She's clearly the one on the front foot. She's clearly looking to pressure her opponent and land that volume, land those hard shots. Power, I'm going to say, is going to be pretty even there. But I will... power's tough. I don't know who has the power advantage there, but volume I definitely think goes to Joanna Jędrzejczyk just ever so slightly, but I'll say power advantage goes Weili Zhang though, but volume slightly going to Joanna Jędrzejczyk. In terms of clinch advantage, I'll go Weili Zhang as well. She's a lot stronger. She's got the knees, and she's good with like landing the shots to the body as well. So I think most of the advantages go Weili Zhang, except for like the volume of Joanna Jędrzejczyk. Joanna is very good at landing more shots than her opponent, but she's not going to be landing as hard of shots as Weili Zhang, especially in a 3-round fight. Weili Zhang is going to easily be able to go out there and put on crazy pressure, let it all out on the line, given it's literally only 3 rounds. So we're going to see a lot from Weili Zhang in the fight. I don't know what's happening there. We're going to see a lot from Weili Zhang in terms of like pressure. We're going to see a lot of cardio expended from Weili Zhang because she has not been in a 3-round fight in a very long time. So she's going to expend a lot of energy, land a actually pretty similar amount of volume to Joanna Jędrzejczyk with more powerful shots. It's close, but I think with it being 3 rounds, I'm going to go Weili Zhang. If it was 5 rounds, you know, I would say 50-50. I would say it's going to go either way. 50-50. Could go Joanna, could go Weili on any given night. But it's 3 rounds, I think, that heavily favors Weili Zhang because she's the much more pressuring fighter. And if you have less time to use that pressure, sometimes you can say that it's a disadvantage, but I think it's going to be an advantage here because she's going to be able to put it all on the line in these 3 rounds and land extreme damage onto Joanna Jędrzejczyk. Maybe even put another hematoma on the forehead of Joanna Jędrzejczyk. So I can't wait for the fight. It's going to be a good one. I got Weili Zhang by a decision. Valentina Shevchenko and Taila Santos in the women's flyweight division. Betting odds -600 for Valentina Shevchenko. Plus 550 on some for Taila Santos right there. So you can clearly see she's another very, very big favorite, as she usually is. Shevchenko, they're saying it's 50-50 to go to a decision. I agree. I don't think it's going to be easy at all to finish a girl like Taila Santos, and I actually don't think she finishes Taila Santos in the fight. I think this fight goes to a decision. I think Valentina outstrikes her a little bit. I mean, we've seen what she's been able to do plenty of times in her UFC career. Outstrike Jennifer Maia, Jessica Ai, Joanna Jędrzejczyk. I mean, she out-wrestled, out-grappled Juliana Pena. Her striking is clearly better than Taila Santos here, but grappling-wise, you don't know for sure. Is she really going to be better than Taila Santos in terms of jiu-jitsu, in terms of takedowns and things like that? Because we've seen what Taila Santos has been able to do. Take down Molly McCann and just out-wrestle, out-grapple her, take down Jillian Robertson, out-wrestle, out-grapple her, Roxanne Modafferi, take down, out-wrestle, out-grapple her, and then take down Joanna Calderwood and submit her. You already know Taila Santos can keep on doing this over and over and over again, but now she's fighting a girl that her only objective in life is to stay champion in the UFC. I mean, to conquer this flyweight division. She is the queen of Muay Thai, of boxing, of kickboxing, and things like that. And her grappling and wrestling is also very legit as well. Getting the elbows from Crucifix on Jessica Andrade and Caitlin Chukagian, while also getting the TKO win on Lauren Murphy. So I do believe striking clearly going Valentina. Experience obviously going Valentina. Cardio clearly going Valentina. Takedowns, I'll go Taila Santos. Jiu-Jitsu, I'll go Taila Santos. Ground and pound, I'll go Valentina Shevchenko. So if Taila Santos is going to win, it's got to be a submission. It's got to be her going out there, somehow grabbing the back of Valentina Shevchenko and submitting her in the fight. But Valentina has never been out there and have been out-wrestled, out-grappled Amanda Nunes wasn't able to do it. And then, what's her name? Liz Carmouche, way back in 2010, was not really able to do it. No one has really been able to out-wrestle and out-grapple Valentina Shevchenko. If there is a girl to do it, it is Taila Santos, but I don't think she's going to be going out there dominating Valentina in the fight. She'll land some takedowns, for sure. The crowd will be like, oh my god, she took down the queen, and things like that. They're going to get hyped for a moment, but then Valentina's going to keep the fight on the feet and just absolutely destroy her there. There's a good chance Taila can get the underdog win here. I mean, we saw Juliana Pena beat Amanda Nunes recently. If Taila makes it a war, just pressures Valentina, just makes it an absolute dogfight, an absolute war, finds a way to get it to the ground. If Valentina is sloppy and she can get the back, submit her in the first and second round, she's live. She's definitely live in the fight, but and the fight goes all the way. Tyler's not going to get finished, and she's not going to get the finish. I mean, 3 decision wins. She couldn't finish Molly McCann, Robertson, Matafari. She's not going to finish Valentina. The fight goes all the way. I'm going to go Valentina Shevchenko by a unanimous decision. Glover takes Yera and Yuri Prochazka in the UFC light heavyweight division. Now, Glover Teixeira, as I've said many times before, is literally the 42-year-old Charles Oliveira. He is the older and way bigger Charles Oliveira. Yuri Prochazka is a slightly younger and bigger Justin Gaethje right there. They're literally bigger versions of Charles Oliveira and Justin Gaethje. Glover Teixeira goes out there, pretty much every fight gets rocked. You're like, oh my god, all right, Glover's about to get TKO'd. It's about to be the end for Glover Teixeira. He's looking absolutely garbage in this fight. He's going to get TKO'd. Gets rocked. Oh my god, he's like out on his feet, gets out on the ground, and then he comes back and he submits his opponent. That's literally what Charles Oliveira does every single time. Yuri Prochazka has never faced a guy like Glover Teixeira. He hasn't faced a guy. Like, if you keep on hitting him and you clearly knock him down and he's rocked, he's wobbled, you can't really see where he's at. Usually Yuri Prochazka is able to go out there and he's able to finish the job. He's been able to do that his past, 10 fights, 11 fights, he's been able to go out there and get that finish. This is not that guy. You're going to easily finish. Glover Teixeira is a guy, the only way you're gonna beat him in a fight is a one punch, he's out cold. He's out cold. And Yuri Prochazka is not that guy. He needs a few shots onto each other, and then he's going to get the knockout. He did get the spinning elbow on Dominic Reyes. Come on. He's not going to get that on Glover Teixeira. And it took a few big shots on Volkan Oezdemir to put him away. A few big shots on a lot of his opponents to put them away. He needs one big shot on Glover Teixeira, and that's how he's going to win the fight. But again, throwing those huge big shots, how crazy diverse of a striker Yuri Prochazka is going to leave him open for the takedown. If he's going to be throwing wild spinning kicks and things like that, overhand rights, left hooks, just really big shots, and trying to get Glover Teixeira out of there early on in this fight, for sure, you can go out there and get the finish. That's very likely. You can knock out Glover Teixeira in the fight, for sure. But if you don't, and the second round comes, and you're a little bit more tired, you're on the back foot now, Glover's coming forward with a high guard, throwing some shots, going down for that double leg takedown, tripping you down, and as soon as your back is on the ground and Glover's ground pounding you, it's all over from there. So it really comes down to, will Glover Teixeira survive the first round? If he can, he wins. If he cannot, Yuri Prochazka, obviously, he's going to win because he cannot survive that first round. But I'm one of the guys leaning Glover Teixeira here because I think we've seen him time again, over and over again, fight these powerful prospects. Jan Blachowicz, the champion, Thiago Santos, Anthony Smith, Ian Cutelaba, all of these guys landing huge shots early on in their fights. Even Carl Roberson was landing some big shots, and he came back after that, took him down, arm triangle, rear naked, ground and pound, rear naked. We've seen it so many times over and over again. I think we'll see it again. I would not be surprised if Yuri knocks him out, but I'm going to go with the same thing Glover has been doing over and over again. I cannot doubt Glover Teixeira because he's proved me wrong so many times in the past. I got Glover Teixeira winning this fight by submission in the second or third round. Betting odds right now have him as a plus 170 underdog. He was a plus 185 at one point or another, plus 180 right there. So a little bit of money coming in on Glover, but he is the underdog still. He is the champion. He is 42 years old. I know all those things. Still, I got him winning the fight by submission in the second or third round. Make sure to like, make sure to subscribe. Put your predictions down below. I got Glover. That's my prediction.